Alright guys, let's do this UFC on versus 2. Jones versus Machashenko predictions. Of course, I am the MMA professor, so let's get right into this. Trying to make it one video. Rob Kimmins against Steve Steinbeis. Not sure why Steinbeis is in the UFC at this point. Good for him. He dropped to 185. Probably a better weight class for him. Kimmins coming off a decent layoff. Got injured in his last training for his last fight. Steinbeis, decent wrestler. Okay boxing. Kimmins is just going to pressure him, put the pressure on him, and Steinbeis is going to make a mistake. Kimmins by submission, late first, early second round, possibly a guillotine. Darren Elkins against Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. Oliveira's first fight in the UFC. Good Brazilian prospect. Pretty good power for 155. Good jiu-jitsu. It's going to be... This is a tough one to pick because Elkins doesn't have that much UFC experience either. Just the one fight, the fight that he won over Bang Ludwig due to Ludwig breaking his leg. So, I mean, not a lot of cage time, not a lot of fights in general. Oliveira fighting a lot of no-names, and at least Elkins has some decent wins. A win over Pat Curran, a win over Gideon Ray. So, I mean, he's fought some quality. So, Oliveira can pull this off. He might, again, be another Hannes Torres who came in. Was going to be a great 155er prospect from Brazil. Good, very good on the ground. Good hands and, with some power. I'm going to go with Darren Elkins by decision. I think he'll control this with his wrestling and has the... the submission defense to not get subbed in anything quick. Then again, would I be surprised if De Bronx won this fight? No, not really. I'm just going to go Darren Elkins, UD. Brian Stann against Mike Macenzio. Stann, another guy, dropping to 185. Will he have the power there? He's an okay technical striker. He showed fairly good submission defense or improved defense. On a day where Mike Macenzio, if he's coming off a win or he's not coming off a year-and-a-half layoff, I'd pick Macenzio all day, every day in this fight. I'm going to go with Brian Stann by late TKO, if not a decision. I think he'll be able to pick Macenzio hard on the feet. Macenzio is going to have a lot of rust, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to pull anything off on Stan. So there you go. James Irvin, Igor Pekrajach. Did I pronounce that right? Because I got crap for pronouncing it wrong in the last time. So who cares? Pekrajach, 2 losses in the UFC. James Irvin fighting to keep his job. Finally, 205. I love watching James Irvin fight. Win, lose, or draw. He brings it every time. I think he's going to be able to... He'll land something big on Pekrajach and put him out probably. So I'm going to go James Irvin, first round knockout. DeMarcus Johnson against Matt Riddle. I always pick DeMarcus Johnson's fights wrong. I always pick him to lose. In his last couple, he's pulled it off and, been in wars, but ended up getting the finish. I think I'm going to pick DeMarcus in this one against Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's, still on the Tough Show, he showed that he has heavy hands and he can knock you out, but he doesn't show that at all. He just takes people down and grinds on them. He's kind of like John Fitch, but not as dynamic, and that tells you something. Can he improve? Probably. At this point, I don't know. DeMarcus is pretty widely off his back, and he's got some unorthodox striking that could give Riddle some problems. I'm going to go DeMarcus Johnson by sub, second round. I think Matt Riddle's still too green, and he's going to try to grind him out, and DeMarcus is going to catch him with something off his back, maybe a triangle or something. Paul Kelly against Jacob Volkman. Volkman's another one. It's like, how well did he do against Paulo Thiago? He took him down, swept him a couple times, albeit he lost that fight. And then he just gets dominated by Martin Kampmann. Drops a 155, beats Hannes Torres, who's a fairly good grappler. I think Paul Kelly's going to be too much for him. I don't like Volkman a lot. I think he's cocky and arrogant and doesn't really have the skill set to back it up. He gives up position a lot. Paul Kelly is fairly good. You know, how is Paul Kelly going to win this fight? Probably standing. I think he'll pick him apart. Kelly has good enough wrestling that I don't think Volkman's going to be able to take him down. So I'm going to go with Paul Kelly, unanimous decision, just roughing him up on the feet for the whole time. Takanori Gomi is main card now. Takanori Gomi against Tyson Griffin. Griffin filling in for injured Joe Stevenson. You know, if Gomi did what he was supposed to and trained specifically for Griffin and used his skill set to his advantage, he'd probably win this fight. He just wings a lot of punches looking for the knockout, and against Tyson Griffin, not going to be a good thing. Griffin's the better wrestler. He's going to push a torrid pace on it. Griffin has very good cardio, and I think he'll use leg kicks and not fear the takedown from Gomi. Use pretty good boxing. He's got very good defensive boxing. So Gomi's one chance to land something big is nullified, I think, in this one because Griffin does have a pretty good boxing, and Griffin's going to win a unanimous decision. Jake Ellenberger against John Howard. I don't know. For me, Ellenberger wins this fight 9 times out of 10. A lot of people like John Howard, but I mean, and I'm not going to say, well, he was losing the fights before he won them because that's stupid because he ended up didn't. I mean, he won the fight, but if you look at the matchup, how John Howard got Dennis Hallman was completely taking him down and controlling him for 2 3/4 rounds before Howard landed a miracle left hook, I think it was, and put him down. Ellenberger is not that guy. He will finish the fight if it's going that long. Ellenberger is very, very heavy hands, and he has way better wrestling than Howard. So if a blown-up 155er in Dennis Hallman, albeit he's a very good grappler, can take down Howard and control him, I just don't see how Ellenberger isn't going to do that. I'm going to go with Ellenberger's second round TKO. I think he's going to take him down and just blast him and Howard may survive for a while, but eventually Ellenberger's going to be too much for him. So there you go. Mark Munoz against Yushin Okami. I can see how Munoz can win this fight because of what Chael Sonnen did to Yushin Okami. When Okami's in there with a better wrestler, he doesn't have the skill set to overcome that. But against Lucio Linares, his boxing looked far improved, using his jab a lot more. Again, Munoz, another guy who he makes a lot of mistakes on the feet, on the ground. He almost I can't believe Kendall Grove didn't finish him with an uppercut, and then he had him in what do you have him in, an anaconda choke, and then a guillotine, and it's just, you put yourself, Okami's an underrated grappler, and I don't know. I'm going to go with Yushin Okami, and I'm going to pick him to finish it, submission. I'm going to go mid-second round submission. Go to the ground. Munoz is going to make a grappling error, and Okami's going to capitalize on it. Okami's a guy that almost subbed Rich Franklin. Rich Franklin has very, very good, underrated ground game. Munoz not anywhere close. He has the wrestling. He's vicious ground and pound, but I just don't see Munoz winning this fight. So I'm going to go Yushin Okami. If he doesn't get the sub, I think he'll win a unanimous decision. John Jones against Vladimir Machachenko. I think it's a good matchup. Good matchup. Jones is very aware of the hype that's surrounding him, and with a guy like that, you don't want to give him a fight that he's not prepared for. And I think Greg Jackson has done a good job at building him up and building a young fighter's confidence and giving him fights that he can improve on. I think stylistically, this is a fight that makes sense for Jones. Machachenko's very gritty veteran, good wrestling, good boxing. That said, that it's a decent matchup. Machachenko's not going to win this fight. John Jones is going to win the fight. It's going to get him cage time. It's going to get him experience as a tough veteran with good wrestling. And like I said, who's overall fairly well-rounded and knows how to win fights. And I think that's good for Jones. And, you know, positive side, Jones wins this. Best case scenario for him, he highlight reels Machyshenko with some sort of submission or some sort of head kick KO or something like that. I think he will finish this fight. I think he's going to hit Machyshenko with maybe a tied knee or something like that. That's what I'm gonna pick. John Jones, second round TKO. I think he'll hit Machyshenko with like I said, a tie knee or something like that, or an elbow or something, and take it to the ground and finish it. His finishing skills have been improving lately, and that's good to see. So there you go. There's my picks. UFC on versus Dose. I am the MMA professor. You guys stay metal. See you later.